Hi guys, hope you're all well. It's Mitch here, just coming on to do the Tarot and Oracle review session for you guys today. So the deck I'm going to be reviewing this week, I'm going to be bringing a little bit of a controversial deck to the surface this week for you guys. So it'll be interesting to see how you feel about it, how maybe it resonates with you. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So the deck that I'm actually going to be showing you today is the Crystal Angels Oracle. It is a deck by Doreen Virtue, and the artwork is by Marius Michael George. So this is the deck here. Now this is really controversial because for a lot of people you would have known that Doreen Virtue has become a born-again Christian, and she's actually denounced a lot of her decks and different things, and she's been very public with the energy of how she's gone about stuff, and she's done a complete U-turn. A lot of people feel that she's almost slightly lost the plot. A lot of people don't agree with her views and her ways and her practices and the way that she's really sabotaged everything that she sort of proclaimed to be up until a point. So I think with this deck what's really important is to try and almost take some of her views to a degree kind of out of it and try and judge this deck on its own merit for what it is. And it is a beautiful, beautiful deck, and this is why I was a little bit unsure if I should show this one or not, and I had to do a bit of research into this morning as well to make sure that this is still a deck that is actually available, because I know with a lot of the Doreen Virtue decks they've actually been taken off sale, but this is a deck that you can still purchase. Okay, it's still available, and I thought, no, I am going to show this because actually taking Doreen Virtue out of the equation to a degree, this is still a beautiful deck in its own rights. It's interesting as well because a lot of people have actually, that I know friends and lots of readers that perhaps have or have had quite a lot of her decks, and some of these people have actually just cleared out all of them. They've got rid of a lot of them because they don't want to associate with her energy anymore, and in some cases people have actually felt like some of the decks have actually lost their power, lost their magic, a little bit like they feel some of the decks have actually become deactivated. And that's really interesting because I've actually got a couple of decks that are Doreen Virtues, and I will say those decks that always felt to me like they held magic, they do feel a little bit deactivated, but this deck is one that I still feel has power and has worth, hence why I'm showing it to you today, because I actually used this deck to do a reading for somebody the other day, and it really surprised me just how accurate the energy of this is. So this, you might be watching this and thinking, oh my god, it's Doreen Virtue, I'm not even going to commence watching this video, and that's your free will, and that's fine if you want to do that. You may sort of just feel like, okay, I'm not too sure about this, but I'll go with an open mind. And I think this is the thing, go with an open mind, go with an open heart, regardless of Doreen Virtue's personal choices. That really should be secondary, and it doesn't really take away the magic of what this deck is about. So let's look at this. You've got the beautiful artwork on the back to give examples. This is been produced by Hay House, so if you can see that there. And again, anything from Hay House tends to be great quality. I really love all the sort of little sparkles, little holograms within this, and I love crystals, I love angels, so a lovely collaboration really. So let's look at this in its entirety. So you get obviously the book, which we'll look at a little bit later on in more detail. So I'll put that to one side. Now what I do love, Marius Michael George, the artwork on these cards is beautiful, really, really magical artwork. I love the back. This is probably one of the best decks in terms of artwork on the back. They've really, really made that look quite special, quite beautiful there. So I love that side of things. And then what you get on each card is you get a crystal at the top, and then you get a little bit of a sort of verb about what it's good for, and then the key message. So you get like sort of snapshot energy. This is a very much sort of snapshot kind of deck. So for instance, like this first card, it just says here watermelon tourmaline, stress reduction, de-stress your mind, body and schedule as you need to rest, recharge and revive. So, and I just think the artwork on these is beautiful, stunning, stunning, stunning. I love the fact that they encompass the crystal itself, and then you get the angelic sort of energy around, obviously as it sort of suggests angels and crystals, or crystals and angels. But really, really love this. You know, I know a lot of people use these when they're doing healing work. This is a very powerful deck to sort of encompass healing. A lot of people, have used these as well as in healing. They've used them to help make crystal grids, so that's quite interesting. They do have a lot of uses actually, and you can just use them for personal affirmations, or you can actually use them to do full-blown readings, you know. And it's interesting because obviously I'm a male witch, so I don't always get that drawn to angel decks as a rule. So for me, it did make me sort of chuckle this morning that of all the sort of angel decks I could have shown you, it was this one, when the lady herself has actually denounced some of her workings in this format and in this way. But again, I think the controversial side of Doreen Virtue is what we almost have to steer away from and not get too caught up in that, and just try and focus on the beauty of what these cards are and seeing this product for what it really is in this like immediate space. It's a little bit like in films, isn't it? You know, a classic one at the moment is Johnny Depp. You know, there's a massive outroar of, you know, Johnny Depp's energy, and whether you choose to, you know, believe what perhaps has happened, and maybe it has, I don't obviously know the whole situation, so it would not be for me to say if he's guilty or not guilty, but a lot of people are really, really sort of turning against him and all the rest of it. And, you know, there are people that are just completely slamming his career. And, you know, if you think of some of the films he's been in, Edward Scissorhands, Pirates of the Caribbean, and loads of other greats, does that make him sort of really bad and shitty in those films? Absolutely not. You know, he was still amazing in those roles and in those films that he produced, and that should not really tarnish the rest of his work. But unfortunately, in the world we live in, that's very often what happens, isn't it? And it's the same with Doreen Virtue. So I think really try and see these on their own merit, because they are, like, I mean, look at the artwork in this one. They are stunning cards, you know, so it's almost having to try and detach from that sort of political sort of side of things and just focus on, you know, this as a key product for what it is. And like I say, for some of you, you might absolutely love this deck. Some of you might be looking at this thinking, no, it's almost too angelic, or it's too maybe crystally or whatever. But yeah, I think it's a 50-50 deck. I think it's something you're either going to love instantly, or you're going to be a bit like, no, actually, this is really not for me. And it's definitely like a tale of two halves. But I actually really liked it when I sort of came across it originally. So I thought, well, I am going to share it with you. And then you can make your own mind up on these. Now, I'm not going to show you all of them because I like to keep a few back. I'm seeing if it says how many cards are in this deck, actually. Yes, it's a 44 card deck, so that's a reasonable amount of cards, you know, a good amount of cards to be working with. Okay. I'm going to show you like maybe one or two more, and then that is going to pretty much be your lot, because I want to leave a couple back as a surprise, just in case you do decide to, you know, to purchase this for yourself. So that's the cards. Now, because it's Hay House, they always produce real top quality stuff. Thickness, you know, stock quality, these are thick actually, these are really good. And even though Hay House, I've got quite a few of their decks, this is definitely one of the thicker decks they've actually produced in terms of stock quality, so loving that. Size of the cards, you know, medium. Some people find these too big. I think this is a perfect size deck to work with. I really like the size. So, as ever, let's pick a card for Sunday and the week ahead. Things we need to know about, guidance to be given. Oops, okay, that's way too many cards. You can't have all of those. That was like a complete cluster just came out then. So that's just too many, so I'm going to put those back. I know they like to chuck themselves at me, but that was, whoa, too many. But let's see what we need to know about channeling the energies for the highest of good. Okay, so we have got the card of Amethyst, and it just says here, revealing your true self. As you allow others to know the real you, you'll feel loved for who you truly are. And I think that's a really, really important message at this time, because a lot of people I've been chatting to lately have been saying they feel ready to sort of step into their authentic truth. For some people that have had to diversify with their businesses, using maybe Facebook more, YouTube, Instagram, Zoom, all of these things, they've actually sort of found that in a really weird way, it's stripped back some of the layers and it's allowed them to be more true, more real, and people are being seen for what they actually are. You know, so it's really, really interesting that that's card coming to light. And I do feel as we're closing down this year, all of our vibrations are stepping up and we're going into that higher power. Now, obviously, in terms of the book, there's aspects of this you might have to take with a little bit of a pinch of salt. So, like the back of the book, for instance, there is a picture of Doreen Virtue and there is a little bit about her. And I won't read it to you, but it just talks a lot here about some of the stuff she was still doing when this deck was published at this sort of time. You know, it just says about her being a best-selling author, a vegan since 1996. Not in a rude way, but I'm not sure what that has really got to do with this so much. A doctor of psychology who owns and runs Animal Rescue Ranch. She has written about the connection between crystals and angels in her books, and it just gives an overview of stuff. So again, this was definitely at a time when she was still, it appears, heavily involved in her spirituality. So again, I think with that in mind, we have to just take this for what it was when it was created, you know. So see how you feel with that. Right, let's just look and find the thing itself. What I will say as well, just looking at the book, so at the front it's got like a breakdown of like the archangels and various crystals and like how the grids all sort of work. And then it has got ideas and examples of how you can ask the cards questions. A couple of spreads you can do. It's quite basic spreads in here, I will say. So let's find Amethyst. Okay, so not huge amounts of information. You get 2 pages of stuff. Black and white pictures, but that's fine. So I'll just read you what the book says in terms of the message for this card. So, Amethyst, revealing your true self. This card comes to you to reassure you that it's safe to be real and authentic with others. You will feel much better when you reveal your true feelings, even if others don't understand. Bottling them up isn't healthy, nor is it effective. Remember that people can disagree and still love each other, provided that they treat the relationship with respect. If you have been teased for being different, you may feel fear revealing your true self. Your guardian angel is assuring you that you are unique, created for a special purpose, and you will find your special purpose by revealing your uniqueness. Your guardian angels love you unconditionally and knows who you really are, what your dreams are, and what you're capable of. Be sure to call upon God and your guardian angels to boost your confidence and learn to love yourself as they love you. This card is also a sign for you to complete a project that's from your heart, such as writing a book or a song, creating an artistic piece, or starting a business that will help others. Pray for courage and to be led to trustworthy, helpful people who will honour and support your journey. And then we've got here key points about amethyst. On the outside, amethyst stones appear to be plain grey rocks. It's only when they are opened up that you see the inner beauty of these violet quartz crystals. Amethyst can boost your positive energy and confidence. So there's not a huge amount about the crystal itself, but this did make me laugh just reading this, because in a way, this is kind of what Doreen Virtue has actually done. She's revealed her true self, the truth of everything, and there are people that probably really don't get it, really don't agree with it, but, you know, she's had to sort of live by her own calling, her own truth, regardless of that. And I suppose in a way, I mean, I don't necessarily get it, but it's not for me also to discredit her, you know. So there's an interesting one that has come out as our kind of key message for this weekend. But on a personal level, I hope you can resonate and you can take the message for what it is. I also think what's really, really important is it is about letting people just be themselves. You know, whether things are correct at the time or long term it's kind of irrelevant, you know. So it's taking everything for what it is in the immediate state of play. So interesting, very interesting. So like I say, going to leave the energies of this deck with you. In terms of like, you know, how I'd rate it, it's not a 10 deck for me. This is probably a 7, maybe a 7 or an 8. I love the artwork. It's not a deck I would work with all the time. It's more for sort of healing or once in a blue moon. The reason I used it the other day on a client is because I felt that that client was actually someone that's going to become an angel and crystal healer. So that was really why I felt guided to work with this deck. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have even bothered picking this out of my collections to work with. And with Doreen Virtue with herself, she, you know, some people I really love, I really follow, and I have quite a large collection of their work. Doreen Virtue has always been somebody, for me personally, that I could take or leave. You know, she was neither really here or there. She was just, you know, she's not someone I would naturally gravitate necessarily towards, but I do like a few of her decks. So maybe that's why I don't feel so emotionally attached to her calling. But I know for a lot of people, they really were massive followers of hers, and some people literally lived by her every whim, her every word. And those are the people that I know feel quite hurt, let down, and disappointed by the choices and the decisions that she's made. So like I say, it's a controversial deck, this one. For me, it's probably a 7 or an 8. But I do think it's one worth having in the collection, so check it out if you feel guided to it. The Crystal Angels by Doreen Virtue with the artwork by Marius Michael George. I'm going to leave the energies of that with you. Have a magical Sunday. Have a great week ahead. Catch you all soon. Bye.